Oh right, sorry. What I was about to say is I've got every intent of reading the entire of August the 14th today, but my throat has gone really really dry, so I was just going to have a quick drink, but then the phone started ringing, so I said I'd stopped. It's also suddenly gone remarkably warm here. It's been freezing cold. Yes, I'm going to do all of today. Mind you, I haven't actually checked how many chapters that is, so I might be re-evaluating the situation a little further on. Especially since my throat is already really dry. You wouldn't believe how... You won't believe how dry your throat gets just sitting there reading. Right, we're gonna have to check out. Oh, hello, Alex, who's just arrived. So now I've got Rooney Bear, Alex H. Leal, and Alex Strokebrook Stardust here. I think there were some others, but they haven't shouted up their names yet, so I don't know. Oh. Oh, well, Alex Hale has been here all along. Oh yeah, there are a lot of yeah, perhaps I won't get through the entire of today. Yeah. Yeah, I think there's at least another 10 chapters of today on top of this one, isn't it? So perhaps not. Right, so the next chapter is 21, The Priest Hole. Sentry was getting impatient to be back upstairs. He actually reached for Matt's claw hammer before the redhead glared and closed the lid down on the toolbox. Mello stood by the closed kitchen door as if guarding it. He snapped, "Sentry, wait. I'm as anxious to get in there as you are, but sometimes it's wiser to ponder a few things first." He raised his hand to eat chocolate, but realised he was only holding a screwed up wrapper. He paced over to the box on the table and took out another one. "Matt, have we got any of this on tape?" "No." "So it's showing an empty room?" Mello asked. "How about audio?" Matt nodded. "We have an audio on all of this, presumably not the precise sound that's killing everybody on account of the fact we're still alive." Mello occupied himself with slowly removing the wrapper around his new chocolate bar. "How long before we have to check in on Chrissy?" 12 minutes, Deontic replied. "OK. We don't do anything until we've done that." Mello glanced sympathetically at Sentry. "I know you want to see this, but think. The last time that was opened, 5 people died and kick-started a chain reaction that's still killing people now. Do you really want to go in half-cocked?" Sentry pursed his lips and reached for a lollipop. "Let's just say I've learned a few lessons about rushing in, where angels feared to tread, during the Kira case." He raised his hand. "And I want to know 3 things before we take those floorboards up. I want to know what you think we should find down there, and Sentry, that's your cue. I want to know about priest holes, anything you think I don't know." He lifted a finger. "Deontic, I want to know that we're alright mentally. You've been watching our reactions. Something's been playing with us. We should not have slept like that last night." He extended a second finger. "And I want a round robin. I want to know what you 3 L-trained detectives think is happening in this house." The third finger rose. "Who's going to start?" "Woot!" replied Matt. "I think I've got the 3rd version of the album." He sniffed and lit another cigarette. Well, at least I have 3 files. 2 of them might be identical. Mello stared at him blankly. We're not listening to any more of them unless it becomes inevitable. He inspected his chocolate, but he didn't bite. That would be like writing our own names into a death note. He extended his arm, pointing the chocolate. Deontic, you start. Deontic took up a pad, scanning her formulas. I don't think that it's affecting us as much today. I think it's trying a different tack. What is? Sentry interrupted. I'm sorry, but you keep saying this. Mello went on about it coming up in the centre of the room. You talk about it affecting us. So what's it? Because you're all well out of the realm of the Gracha Ribbon. She's not like a Hollywood demonic entity. Mello gave him a long, appraising look. Whatever is awakened in this house. Which is something Welsh and nasty, a demon, a Shinigami, a bunch of malicious ghosts. He smiled without humour. You'll be amongst the first to know when I know. Matt stated flatly. But the only thing I can tell you is that it's everywhere. I'm checking the data from our sensors and the meters, and they're lighting up like the national grid. What's in this house is in every room. They glanced around themselves. Yeah, even this one. He pointed to the digital dial on his computer, showing an EMF reading of 2.4 in the kitchen. His handheld sensor confirms the reading, its needle quivering between 2.4 and 2.6. For the record, normal is about 9 to 30. He smiled tightly. Plus I'm getting temperature fluctuations in all of the rooms. You don't have to hear Yoan in his little room because I can see it right here. The infrared thermometer dips by 40 degrees as he passes each point, and then it rises back up again. The ambient air thermometer readings going up and down like yo-yos throughout the house. I've had to mute the alarm on the motion sensors because it was starting to sound like tinnitus in my ear. Matt clicked to open a file. Let's just say that I've got 1,283 JPEG images of fuck all to look at. They all stared at him. That was quite a speech by Matt's standards. He just shrugged and focused on the pictures, his quick eyes taking in several at a time and scanning them for anomalies. Mello was deathly calm. Deontic, continue. She had shivered. She consulted her notes again. We all brought baggage here, and hit whatever it is, probed us for our weaknesses. Who here would show a weakness in front of the others? She met each of their eyes in turn except Matt's. He was focused on his laptops. Yet even Mello became extremely vulnerable last night. I don't know why I cried like I did. It wasn't even Pacific. Yes, the water was getting on my nerves, and yes, it triggered a deep-rooted emotion inside me. But I don't know why I was crying. It was for Natalie, it was for Lamond, and it was for Johnny. She considered it. Yes, it was even for myself. It was like all of that loss reared up inside me, and I couldn't stop crying. And the Mello was so kind to me, and I just felt foolish. Don't let your emotion build up inside, Mello warned. I've learned that the hard way. It's never a good idea. Deontic looked at him. Do you wish to elaborate on that? No. Okay. She nodded, hurrying on. Then I have a question. Why did you point a gun at Sentry? Mello opened his mouth to respond, but faltered. He settled finally for something that felt like a good idea at the time, but it wasn't. It was stupid. His head hunkered down into his shoulders, uncertainty picked. Deontic watched him. You are many things, Mello, but stupid isn't one of them. She flashed a smile that she hoped was reassuring. You've never been anything less than a genius, which is why none of us could ever catch you. Yet it got into you, and it manipulated you. Mello stared. Possession? He pondered it, and then shook his head, licking his chocolate. No. Sentry sighed heavily. Okay, I'm bored now. Let's go and open the pre-stall. Mello turned on him. Sentry, sit the fuck down. Why are you so impatient? The teenager didn't move. Mello pointed to a stall. Now! There was a standoff, Mello glaring, Sentry staring. Mello hissed. Don't put me into a situation where I have to make you do as you're told. He smirked one of his most malicious smiles. Sentry. Deontic moved to stand between them, talking again to deflect attention from the brewing argument. I don't think it is possession. It's more an atmosphere that plays on our base feelings, negative feelings. It's intense and we can't fully discern it because we're in the middle of it. It's causing us to do it to ourselves. We're being fed our own fears, loss, pain. Fuck! Matt growled. My lighter's gone out. He clicked it incessantly. I've got another one in the car. He started to stand. Matt, sit down, Mello warned. At Matt's gaze he softened. Oh, come on, Matt, just check your pockets. You've always got spares. To show willing, Mello patted down his own pockets, though he knew he didn't have one. Please, Matt. Matt glared. The car is only out there. Half a dozen steps from the doorway. Let me get it. Mello started forward. Deontic leaned backwards and lit a hob on the cooker. Light it here. My light has gone out. Light it here. She calmly stepped away from it and was gratified to see Matt drift into her direction. His cigarette lit, the crisis was over. The house is fertile ground. It doesn't need to provide the seeds as we brought them with us. It's an oppressive atmosphere and our fears just grow. Something's just occurred to me, Sentry stated firmly, rising from the stool upon which he had perched. They all looked at him. Mello isn't actually the boss of me. He circled the blonde and touched the doorknob. We can do what the... Mello's hand snaked out and grabbed his hand. The look in his eyes froze Sentry where he stood, ice cold but raging. Mello growled. And I was consigliere in the mafia. Would you like to find out what I learnt there, Yestin Jones? Matti exhaled and wandered over to where the two men stood. Mel, he reached out. Mello batted his hand away with one sharp chop. Let's us go, get it open, then we can... Deontic agreed. Yes, it's too... She struggled for the word. Please, Mello. See what we're dealing with. Matt reached again for Mello's arm. Please, Endale. Mello didn't throw him off this time, but he did stare at Matt, the promise of violence inherent in his eyes. I'll get my claw hammer. It will only take a couple of moments, and at least the noise has stopped up there. Sentry pulled his arm away and opened the kitchen door. The sitting room looked peaceful and inviting. Mello turned his head and watched him walk into there. Matt reached back to the table and picked up his toolbox. Deontic just stood stock still, a hand over her mouth. Please don't fight. Sentry, Mello called out. Don't go up those stairs. His attention returned to Matt. Why do you want it open? He's after it because of the history angle and because he wants to see if he was right. Deontic's just trying to keep the peace. And I'm interested because there could be a chance it's a Catholic chapel. What's in it for a shit-stirring secular cyberpunk like you? He heard the footfalls on the stairs as Sentry ran up them. Mello roared, "Fuck it!" and he took off after the teenager. I'm gonna fucking kill him. Matt ran after Mello, shouting his name, leaving Deontic to snatch up the toolbox and heaving it to her chest in both arms, struggle up the stairs with it. She heard Mello screaming. What are you doing? He caught up with Sentry in the room above. Mello had him by the throat, backed up against the wall. What the fuck are you doing? In Sentry's pocket his phone was ringing. Sentry calmly reached down and took it out. Mello grabbed it, a thumb pressed into Sentry's wrist, and he released the phone. Mello caught it, holding it away. Sentry made to punch him in the stomach, but Mello danced backwards. Give me my phone, Sentry warned. Beyond them both, Matt had just rolled his eyes and taken the toolbar from Deontic. He fell to his knees and bent over the floorboards with his claw hammer. They both turned to look at the first whack between the joints, but Mello used the distraction to slam Sentry up the wall. Again, Mello's gaze was fearsome. Do not fuck with me. Do not fuck with me. I've warned you before. You will follow my lead on this one. Deontic coughed. Mello, it's playing with your emotions. The house is... No, Mello smirked. This one is all me. He leaned on with all his body weight onto the teenager, forcing Sentry sideways and onto the floor. Leaving him sprawling there, Mello took 3 steps to the window, opened it and threw the phone out into the night. Oops, he smiled, spinning around. I must have dropped it. At his feet, Sentry glared blue murder at him. Deontic gasped. Was that Chrissy? What time is it? There was a loud, splintering noise, and Matt prized back one of the floorboards. He reached a torch from his toolbox and shone it beneath. Stairs, he announced, and something beyond. Sentry scrambled from his side, peering down too, keeping himself on the other side of Matt, away from Mello. Mello gritted his teeth, trying to control his temper as he looked at Deontic. He barked. What time is it? I haven't got a watch. She bit her lip. Mello reached for his own phone as Matt and Sentry removed the second floorboard, a lot more quickly than the first. 7 minutes passed. He stared at the window. That probably was Chrissy. He looked caught between the uncovered hole and the doorway. Do, would you? She shook her head. I'm not going down there on my own. If someone comes with me, I'll... Everyone downstairs, Mello commanded, but Sentry was already levering himself into the darkness beneath. Yes, then, don't. There was a thud as Sentry landed on some floor out of sight. Matt would shine his torch into it, dropping it down into the waiting hands. Matt? Matt clambered into the space. Matt, don't. But he was gone, and Mello whispered plaintively, At least give me Chris's number. He looked very lost as his gaze met Deontic's. We don't know what's down there. Sentry called back. It's some kind of chapel. There's a painting on the wall that looks like a representation of Christ. It's not exactly the Sistine Chapel, Matt added, a smirk in his voice. Oh. Sentry filled in the detail. The roof is painted blue and gold. The gold are like stars, and it's definitely some kind of 16th century. It's not very big, though. They couldn't have done full services down here. It's very cosy with just me and Matt. Come out, Mello whispered. Deontic crossed the room as if to hug or hold him, but held off at the last. There were whispers down there, and then Sentry's commentary continued more loudly. Oh, there's a little pot. It's glass with little things inside it. Showing that touch, Matt? There was a pause. It's water with pins and nails and broken glass inside it. The top is sealed. Another pause and then dismissal. Oh, it's okay, it's modern. There's a sell-by date of last year on the bottom of the jar. Deontic touched Mello's arms. Are you okay? I'd only have to put the floorboards back, Mello said in a tiny voice, and they'd be trapped. He saw how Deontic's eyebrows rose in alarm. I'm not going to, but Matt would never trust that I wouldn't, that anybody wouldn't. He's climbed voluntarily into something that could easily be an oubliette. Matt wouldn't do that. Oh my God! Matt's voice rose from the hole. It was joined by Sentry's shriek. Dwee! The fucking hell is that? Mello seemed to snap from his reverie. He yelled, Will you pair get out of there, please? He took a breath before bellowing into the final, Now! Under the floorboards they heard Sentry comment, Mello's freaking out. Yeah, Matt agreed, and it sounded to Mello like a snap. I'd better go and tell him he was right too. Fuck him, Sentry spat. If you can't take the heat, you should get out the kitchen. Deontic gripped Mello's arm. Mikhail, please don't. My name is Mello. Mello shook her off and walked to the hole. He could see the ladder going down and the moving pool of light as the torches shone around. He heard Matt softly say, Don't slag Mello off. But there was neither menace nor power. Matt, Mello called down. How big is it down there? There was a shuffling, then Matt's face appeared looking up. He was standing to his full height. How big is it down there? Matt sniffed, looking back. You'd struggle getting all 4 of us down here. Perhaps 3. Sentry's having to bow his head. Okay. With an effort, Mello was keeping his tone calm and friendly, trying diplomacy where ire had failed. This is an historical find. This is now Sentry's baby. I'm happy for him to take the lead. His fists were clenched over his chocolate bar. But Guapo, would you both come out now, please? I want to... He paused, working out how to phrase it. Do a proper handover of this investigation downstairs. Sentry hissed. Has he got a gun in his hand? Matt shook his head, his eyes locked on Mello's gaze. Pass that tripod and camera down, Mel. Let me place it in here and then I'll come up. Mello nodded, standing up. He reached the tripod, but Deontic held up her hand. What? Listen. She passed the window, looking out, but there was only darkness in the river. Can you hear it? Mello listened. There was a distant wailing coming closer. He and Deontic exchanged looks, and she stepped away from the window. He held onto the tripod, but his other hand crossed himself. His fist encircled the rosary the chocolate held between his teeth. They both stared at the darkened glass, seeing only their pale reflections. The wind changed, and suddenly they knew precisely what they were hearing. Oh, shit, Mello snapped. Sentry, I need you. The police are here. Come and speak Welsh to them and make them go away. Sentry's head appeared through the gap. Were the police here? Where are the police here? Deontic swallowed. Chrissy must have called them. Mello bit down his impatience. Get out of here so that Deontic can pass Matt this camera. Downstairs the sirens are very loud. They'd made it into their yard. Sentry hesitated, but as the doorbell sounded shrill throughout the house, he leapt the last few feet and hurried through the door. Matt, place it and come out, okay? Yeah, Matt replied, with Deontic already rushing to hand the tripod down. Mello turned and followed Sentry out. Right, Brooke Stardust is saying that was a well-timed woot there. I don't know what that was in relation to. And she's also saying Deontic is totally not as appreciated as she should be. Good gravy, boys. Gravy? Right, the next chapter is absolutely huge. So I'm going to smoke this cigarette before I actually start reading it. Oh, instead of good God. Yeah, so I think the Deontic fan club is actually in the chat channel at the moment. Good gravy is Rhode Island slang. It's pity I can't hear other people speaking because it would save the silence well on between chapters. The next chapter, by the way, is going to be number 22, Lost, which is a chapter that goes on for absolutely ever and ever and ever and ever and ever. Oh my God. I think it's actually the longest chapter in the entire of Annals. Brooke Stardust is going doo-dee-doo in chat. In fact, what I'll probably do is pause this so you haven't got a long bit of silence in the middle, and then come back to do chapter 22. Right, I'll be back forthwith. At least I will if I can get control of my mouse again. There we go.